Hello everyone and welcome to day 14 of the Summer Soccer Training Packet. Today we're going to learn how to make a scouting report. So scouting reports are very important. It gives you a good idea of what you're going to expect coming into a game. So when we do video work at Waldorf, we're going to have pre-game and after-game video work we're going to do next year. So the important part of this is that you're going to use last week's player that you picked. So if you picked Mohamed Salah from Liverpool, you're going to be pretending that you're playing against Arsenal and you're going to make a scouting report for that player. If your player is from Arsenal, then you're going to have a scouting report against Man City. So the important thing to do first is just kind of get a general idea about the team you're playing. How do they play? What are their tendencies? What kind of playing style do they have? Who are their key players? This is the first step of making the scouting report. It's a whole general outlook of the team, because we're going to drill down specifically a little bit later on your player. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to focus on key players on the team, especially if they're going against the player you are using. So who are the key players on a team? So you look at Arsenal, for example, and you have Ben White as a defender. When he's going up against goalkeepers on corner kicks, he gets right in front of them. He's a key player to how they play their corner kicks. And then if you look at their strikers, Saka up top, he makes really good runs in there. He gets behind the back and he scores lots of goals. But also Odegaard runs the midfield. So looking at those key players, their goalkeeper has the most clean sheets this year. So those are the kind of things you look at, the key players on the team. If they're playing, if they're not playing, are they coming off injury? Are they coming off yellow card to red cards? So that's kind of something you want to look for. Obviously, looking at what kind of formation they play in those key players, if they are different, if the player's out or in, and then what kind of subs they make in the 70th minute, who's coming on. So Trossard has been playing on the left forward for Arsenal the last few games, but in about the 70th minute, Martinelli comes in on that side. So do they change how they play the formation? Do they move people around? If Jesus comes in, is he going to play on the left, the right, and the center? So those are the kind of things you're looking for when you're watching and making a scouting report. Then you're going to look at their set pieces, right? How do they play their set pieces? Where does the ball come in from on corners? On direct kicks, they play it short, they go direct. Those are the kind of things you want to look for and that kind of play. So Arsenal, for example, has a set piece coach, and that's all he works on. And they've scored the most goals off corners this year, and they're very good at different type of set pieces. They also have different kind of throw-ins, and they delay it depending on if they want to slow the game down or speed the game up. They have a long thrower. So those are the kind of things you want to look at, is different type of set pieces. How, as your player, that is going to tend to be you, a striker, for example, how are you going to play those set pieces differently than if it's a different team? The next part we're going to do is we're going to assess the tactics that they play depending on what kind of team they're playing. So again, Arsenal is a team that you're probably playing against. They play differently depending on who they're playing. If it's a team top of the league, they play a little bit more defensively. They put more people behind the ball, and they play the wings a lot more when they get out. They don't try to get down the middle. Especially if they're playing Man City, they don't want to go against De Bruyne in the middle. They try to keep it away from him, so they play on the outside. So how they tactically play with their formation, depending on who they're playing, is also really important. The next part you're going to consider is if it's a home or away game, how do they play with their fans? Obviously, different teams in the Premier League, for example, have different fan bases, right? Right, so there's two parts of today's scouting report. The first part is you're going to create a whole team scouting report for your team. Either they're playing Arsenal or Man City, so they're going to do a scouting report on those teams. And then for part two, you're going to do an individualized scouting report. So again, the whole reason behind this is I want to see what you want to get next year for your scouting reports when you're going up against a team. Next weekend, we will be actually doing a college team, and so you'll be doing a scouting report against a team that we will actually see in next season. So it's really important that we learn with a team like Arsenal and Man City, because there's so much video about them online. There's way more statistical stuff. In our league, it's a little less of that. So that's why we're using the big teams this week. It's going to help us for next week. So get your journal entries done today. Make sure those 3 parts that are in the assignment on the webpage are in there today. And then send all your entire week's worth of journals to your coach that you send your information to. Really good job this week. It's week 2. We're going into week 3. Things change around a little bit, and it gets progressively harder for the physical side. And on the technical and training side, it also adds up more and more as we go along. And then in week 4, you're going to start making your own training programs for the week. I'm really excited that it's progressing. I got some really good feedback last week. We're going to keep going. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.